three most important digital skills nowadays, in my opinion, and living 1 year with the pandemic situation, are the following. The first one is the ability to maintain and establish social interactions digitally. So you can avoid situations like isolation, social isolation, loneliness, and other mental issues. The second one is the ability to use digital tools to work remotely and be able to continue your career and have a job even in a pandemic situation. And the third one, also very important, is the ability to separate good from bad information sources or fake news. That's very important because bad information can have very negative consequences for your physical and mental health.
With increasing digitalization, we have forgotten that digital skills are mostly tools to support other important cognitive skills, like how to learn, how to solve the problems, or even how to communicate with each other. What I have noticed during my 33 years of academic career is that younger generations are weaker in general in some very basic skills, like reading longer text, expressing themselves orally, thinking critically, and so on. Perhaps we have to turn our attention back to the basics before we will dig deeper into the digital world or develop further digital competencies.
Consider the life in the late months. In my opinion, students need to develop those digital skills related to information and media literacy. That is, learning how to communicate and interact responsibly and effectively online in different digital environments such as video conferencing or social networks in synchronous and asynchronous modality.
Most problems are caused by believing that our young people are digital native. They are not. They need to have the basic knowledge about computers and operating systems to handle more difficult tasks like critical data handling and sharing, problem solving and documenting.
Changes in the information society are forcing the development of digital competences. Currently, the space we all live is heavily dominated by new media. Therefore, the lack of digital literacy can be particularly acute for people entering to the labor market in a few years. Digital competencies, especially in group of adolescents, allow for the realization of developmental tasks, for example, learning, including self-education, raising qualifications, undertaking work in prospective sectors. Lack of digital competencies means exclusion from the information society.
The most important public policy that I think that my country and all countries around Europe and the world should think about is to make the internet access to the population free or practice at very low rates. This living in a pandemic situation or not, but especially living in the pandemic situation, people are very dependent on the internet access and digital tools to be able to learn, work, and even have access to basic needs like food. So that's a very important step to take.
As a member of the Economic Advisory Board for the Prime Minister, I suggested already in the summer that Estonia should accelerate the investment to high-speed internet networks in remote areas. Estonian population density is very low, and there are still quite a few people living in the countryside who do not have access to high-speed internet. The second issue for government policy concern is an increasing divide in the digital skills. As all schools use distance learning in the spring, this digital gap perhaps even widened as certain social groups do not have a sufficient experience how to use digital tools or do not have a good internet access. In such circumstances, the family support to the learning process could be weaker, and as a result, the whole study progress may suffer.
In Italy, all schools need to be connected to the internet as soon as possible. Fiber in schools, whatever the cost. Families need incentives to purchase personal computers and notebooks for everybody, and students need special discounts. Another thing is to design a more effective digital national training plan in order to support all citizens and compensate the digital divide.
First intervention should be focused on teacher education, especially in-service teacher education. Our young people need stronger support to be really and widely digital skilled.
In formal terms, the development of digital competences in Poland is determined by the official educational program approved by the Ministry of Education and Science. Students primarily learn to use the basic computer application and websites. Very big accent is put on office software, graphic editing and also programming. Official educational programs are an example of educational policies in which digital competences are developed in similar way to the other basic skills, for example, language, mathematics.